Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome back to KwingsLetsPlays, and today is a very special DC chat or discussion video live stream talking about the Superman Legacy Justice League casting, including Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, and now Metamorpho. Just what is James Gunn doing? It's kind of interesting, all these superheroes in Superman's introduction movie. Oh my gosh. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe and you click that notification bell. And we're going to be playing the OG Injustice because Hawkgirl's in this. So,
yeah, we have to do the OG that actually had Hawkgirl.
Yeah, and we still have no idea what version of Hawkgirl we're going to see. It might be Shira, but it could be like other incarnations of the character. No one really knows right now. All we know is that one of the frontrunners for Batgirl, Isabella Merced, is playing Hawkgirl. And she was also in the Transformers movies, one of them. So, basically, Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, Superman, and some other characters are totally okay to play as, if you want. Because we know Batman exists in this new universe. Flash does not right now. Aquaman does not, so he's benched. Shazam is likely to return, so he's fine. Wonder Woman could be played today. Lex Luthor's going to show up. Joker's going to show up in this new universe. Lobo will be in it. So, I mean, and supposedly Nightwing's going to show up in James Gunn stuff. So, the only ones that I wouldn't play for this today would be Flash and Aquaman have no role in the first chapter. So.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so I chose Hawkgirl.
Okay. I'm going to go with Superman.
So, yeah, we have Mr. Terrific, played by Eddie Gathegi, Hawkgirl, played by Isabella Merced, Guy Gardner, played by Nathan Fillion.
Fillion?
I don't know.
One or the other, yeah.
Fillion.
And then the new guy, Metamorpho, is Barry Anthony Corrigan, who was just announced. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, he's some bald guy, I don't know. Probably somebody famous. I don't know, I don't know actors. Very well. Let's go to Metropolis, because we can. Yay! Oh.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, there are a lot of heroes.
Oh boy. Superman Legacy casting. Oh my gosh. So where do we begin? I mean, I'm happy about Hawkgirl. I really am one of those people that, like, I don't understand why they didn't have Hawkgirl appear in Zack Snyder stuff, like at the beginning, because when they introduced Hawkgirl in animated form, they had two girl characters at the start. They had Hawkgirl and Wonder Woman. And each lady, you know, was different. They had different personalities.
I think that Zack Snyder was trying to show that Wonder Woman was the first, like, girl in there.
Yeah, but, I mean...
But yeah, it was... I think that Zack Snyder was trying to do an origin story, maybe. I think he had a plan that he was going to introduce other people. Yeah, what were you going to say? Sorry.
He never had a plan to introduce Hawkgirl, though. Like, she was never... Hawkman was in the cards.
Like, I would have thought he would have put in a female Green Lantern or something.
Yeah. But they were probably going to do Jon Stewart. Although originally Hal Jordan was the plan.
He was going to do... That's right, Jon Stewart or Hal Jordan.
Yep.
Oh, I shouldn't have done Earth 2. I haven't played as Hawkgirl for so long.
Oh, it's been a while.
She looks different in Earth 2. I should have done
I'm still trying to do this the way that Injustice 2 is done, and Superman doesn't really behave that way. So
yeah.
it's a little different.
So Mr. Terrific is a character that, like, if you guys watched Luke's video this morning,
yeah,
then you would know who Mr. Terrific is. So those of you guys who don't know who he is, then you guys forgot to watch Luke's video today.
Yeah, he's a guy who hangs out in the Watchtower. He showed up in Justice League Unlimited, and he's had a long stint on DC Comics. He's a very intelligent guy. He's also tactically brilliant, so he's great as a strategist and commander for, you know, giving Justice League people their jobs from the Watchtower. When Martian Manhunter leaves in the show, which I don't remember the reason why he just up and vanishes. I'm pretty sure Dwayne McDuffie like wrote a reason why Martian Manhunter leaves for a while. But then, of course, when they're rebuilding the Justice League, you have Mr. Terrific is there. He also has these little weapons that he calls T-spheres, I believe. Like, technologically, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's a character that's been popping up a lot more. And James Gunn, last year, teased a picture that had all these Justice League characters. It had Hawkgirl in it. It had Mr. Terrific, Batman, Damian, Superman, Green Arrow, Metamorpho, Green Lanterns. It had Aquaman, I believe, and some other characters. And people are saying this teaser that he did last year is probably our look of what a lot of the Justice League characters are going to be.
Yeah, I mean, like, he did... I was watching some videos where he did have a plan of doing Blue Beetle and then eventually Superman. And that's basically what he is doing. So I guess he had his sights set on those characters for a while.
Yep. He did. And, of course, Blue Beetle is going to show up in this new universe. We're going to see his origin from the previous universe, and then the actor is going to be a different Blue Beetle, but still the same actor playing Blue Beetle. And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I just hope that his movie doesn't bomb the way The Flash did. Because I'm kind of excited about all the anime references in Blue Beetle.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean... I mean, like, I don't really know what Blue Beetle movie is going to be like. I can't imagine it being better than The Flash, because The Flash was pretty good.
The Flash was a good movie, it just...
it had problems.
The problems wasn't really the movie's fault. It was a controversy surrounding the actor, and as well as James Gunn saying, hey, this movie that you're going to go support, there's no reason to, because Flash isn't going to be around for a while anyway.
Your favorite characters are going to be, all their cameos are cut.
Yeah, and they cut everybody's cameo. If they would have kept in Henry Cavill and Michael Keaton's cameos at the end, and not threw in George Clooney, I think more people might have been receptive for it, because if Michael Keaton and Ezra and some of these other people aren't coming back anyway, I don't understand why they just didn't throw the audience a bone and be like, hey, here's Henry Cavill smiling.
Why can't we just see them one last time?
Yeah, one last time. Why?
It's like when you have to give up your puppy and you have to give them to the pet store. It's like, they're just like, can I just see my puppy one last time and pet him?
I want to see the puppy. Yeah.
Even though you know you're never going to see the puppy again. Like, you know, it gives you some kind of closure. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, I would have liked to see the Hawkgirl in the Justice League. I was just open to whatever Zack Snyder wanted to do, but I never really got to see what he was gonna do. I mean, we got to see the Snyder cut was Martian Manhunter, which was interesting, and that kind of brings us to Mr. Terrific, because Mr. Luke was saying that Mr. Terrific came in to watch the Watchtower after Martian Manhunter was on like a vacation for a while.
It wasn't really a vacation.
I know, it wasn't a vacation.
I think how Dwayne did it is, I believe, something like after the events of the Thanagarian invasion of Earth, and Hawkgirl left the team, and Hawkgirl and Green Lantern broke up, and the Watchtower was destroyed. Then they do a time skip into Justice League Unlimited, and there are some characters that return, and there are other Leaguers, like the Founders, that don't come back. You know, Batman becomes more of a part-time person, and things like that. Yeah. And they're making, like, this army of superheroes on the Watchtower, and then you're just, like, introduced to Mr. Terrific, like, you know, he's just always been there. Dwayne McDuffie had such a perfect way of storytelling that he was able to use an ensemble cast but still make it feel like every character mattered.
Yeah.
That to me was really cool. I'm going to go with Hawkgirl because I can. Speaking of the Watchtower, we're going to go to the Watchtower.
Yeah, he did make it like every character mattered, even though Hawkgirl really wasn't anywhere near as powerful as Wonder Woman, to be completely honest. It was like she was a valid member of the team anyway.
Now, if I was James Gunn, I still would have made Nathan Hal Jordan. I don't like Guy Gardner. I am not a Guy Gardner fan. I don't like this casting. I like that Nathan is playing a Green Lantern because I think he understands what it is to play a Green Lantern because he's been the voice of Hal Jordan for a decade.
Yeah.
You know? And it also went back to the point where James Gunn said something like a year ago that was very interesting. He was like, actors who, you know, appear as these characters in my movies are going to end up being the voice of these characters in animation and video games.
That makes sense.
And things like that. So I was just thinking, if they are going to cast an older Green Lantern anyway, it's like they should have really made Nathan Hal, because Hal could train the new generation.
Right, they should have made a younger person. Well,
and then,
I don't know.
Yeah, Hal could train like a younger Jon Stewart, or
Yeah.
like some of the other like Green Lanterns, like Jessica Cruz and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think that Nathan would have been the perfect like veteran, older, you know, protector of Sector 2814.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe they're going to do this thing where they're doing a lot of Grant Morrison stuff, right? So maybe what they're going to do is they're going to have Hal Jordan and John both be like relatively very young, like in their 20s, and the veteran is going to be Guy Gardner, which I don't like that. I just don't. But I was thinking about this since basically James is a big fan of the animated DC universe, like the one we grew up with in the 2000s.
Yeah.
And what they were so good was their masterful storytelling. Like, think back to the first episode of Justice League, where we're introduced to Batman and Superman being frenemies and working together, and they uncover, like, this alien plot. And then all of a sudden, they get attacked by these aliens, and then the different Justice League, future Justice League members just show up.
Right.
And, you know, they write them in a way that doesn't feel shoehorned. It's like, you know that there are other superheroes that exist because the way that the characters interact with them, it's like they know them a little bit. Like, the Flash and Hawkgirl, you know, have been on Earth for a while doing their own things, but they haven't really done official team-ups. And they kind of joke about, like, you know, well, is this some kind of team-up or something? Mm-hmm. And then they introduce a new character that no one has seen before.
Yeah.
To the group, which was Wonder Woman, who came from Themyscira. Superman, Hawkgirl, Flash, Batman, nobody knew who she was.
Oh, yeah.
She was the outsider.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, so instead of her being one of the first, yeah, she was the outsider.
And then they rescued Martian Manhunter, and it just all went from there. And, you know, Green Lantern just shows up and helps everybody. It was perfect.
Right. In the Justice League, that's right. Hawkgirl was actually in the Justice League before Wonder Woman was.
No, they didn't have a Justice League yet. They were all solo.
They were solo people. Yeah.
And they came together to like face a greater threat. So we know there's going to be a Superman villain in Superman Legacy played by David Cordsweat or whatever. My thing is, if they're bringing in these other Justice League members, my hope is that they're not just shoehorning them in for a quick cameo to establish their character.
Yeah.
Like just to have like, you know, Superman's flying around and all of a sudden Nathan Fillion comes in and they just say hello or something. You know, that no, I don't want that. What I would want is there's a big Superman villain, and while it is Superman's movie, it would be nice if these Justice League members also fight the Superman villain, whether it be Brainiac or somebody else, like some greater threat that they have to work together, but it's Superman, the one who saves the day, and all these other heroes like Green Lantern and Hawkgirl, Metamorpho, and Mr. Terrific, they get their butt kicked.
Yeah.
And then the focus shifts to Superman.
Right.
Because it's called Superman Legacy, and he becomes the legacy of this new universe. So you have these old heroes, or older, well-established, known heroes in this world, but it's only thanks to Superman that they're able to triumph. And then at the end of Superman Legacy, that's the creation of the Justice League. Like, they were all solo heroes before. That's how I would do it. Like, they weren't like a team. They were all solo, and they had to band together, you know, to deal with this threat.
Right. That makes sense.
That's how I would incorporate, like, a, you know, with all these characters, because if they're just going to do the Marvel thing, like, theoretically, where you have, like, just quick little cameos of these characters, I hate that. I don't like when Marvel does that.
Yeah.
Like teasing that they're going to be a bigger part, like, of the grander story.
Yeah,
I
agree.
I like the idea that James said this is a lived-in world. This is a world where superheroes have existed before Superman's edition.
That makes sense. Yeah, I like that too, because then it's kind of like leading up to the big cheese, because Superman is the most powerful, obviously.
I also would open up the movie, believe it or not, with Clark Kent in his apartment, you know, just kind of trying to hide his powers, and there's a news segment, like something pops up on the TV, and you have sitting in the chair is Guy Gardner acting like a tool, and like, you know, going from the superhero point of view about like some type of like world event, and just having like David Cornsweet like watching the TV and kind of rolling his eyes like, I don't want to be like somebody who uses my powers because I don't want to be like this, you know, this guy here.
Yeah, exactly.
Because no one likes Guy Gardner.
Yeah, David's name is so weird, the end of it. It's like, it does sound like corn sweat.
It sounds like corn sweat, yeah.
And it's weird because since he's playing Superman, and Superman lives in, like, corn area, it's weird. The whole thing is weird. I would change my name if that was my name. No offense, but, like, I would change my name to something else.
I mean, I don't think it's a very good stage name, but it might actually be his name. I don't know.
Sorry.
I heard he's Jewish, actually, which is kind of interesting because Superman was created by 2 Jewish guys.
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
As far as I know, this is the first time that a Jewish actor has actually played Superman.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible.
Because Christopher Reeve was a different nationality. Dean Cain was half Japanese, half American.
Yeah.
I believe Henry Cavill was British. Brandon Routh, I don't know what his nationality is.
Yeah. I don't know most of them.
Yeah. And I don't know about Tyler. I don't know where he's from. But, yeah, David is a Jewish guy, and that's kind of cool that it's come full circle.
It is kind of interesting. I feel like maybe they did that slightly on purpose, maybe, or it was part of it. It's kind of interesting, definitely. I guess I can play as Superman. I don't really know.
Oh, we're going to talk about Hawkgirl now. Hawkgirl. New universe. That was a 9-minute thing. New universe. Okay, so yeah, we know it's going to be a lived-in universe, so that's exciting. So I kind of want to dive into what I think that they might do with Hawkgirl. Again, if they're using Grant Morrison for an example. Grant Morrison, fantastic writer, did some great things with Batman and Superman, as well as the Justice League in general, like for some of the characters that he showcased.
Yeah.
With Hawkgirl, what I don't want them to do is I don't want her to be connected to the Hawkgirl and the Hawkman situation, like from the Black Adam movie. Like, that needs to be its own universe and stay that way, because Black Adam wasn't successful, and there's no reason to bring those characters back, just like bringing characters back from the Flash.
Yeah.
Like, those movies were, you know, literal flops. I would like Hawkgirl to be established way before Hawkman. I don't even want them to tease Hawkman.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's 2 different universes, because Hawkman is from the Justice League of America, and maybe they would know each other, but are they necessarily together? Or maybe he's like from a different... Yeah, I think he's from a different Earth, because, yeah.
Well, yeah, the multiverse is established in the Flash movie, so...
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem with, like, how... I thought he did a great job, and I thought he was cool as Hawkman. Yep. Maybe he could be another Thanagarian or something that randomly comes in. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if James Gunn is borrowing, you know, a lot of his ideas and, like, his tone from the Justice League cartoon, at least that's what he's hinting.
Yeah.
And Grant Morrison, which kind of felt like a little bit like the Justice League cartoon when it was long over.
Yeah.
I don't want them to do the secret thing where Hawkgirl is a agent of Thanagar and is planning on, you know, destroying the Earth. I don't
like Justice League.
Yeah, I don't want to do that, because then right now Marvel is doing their whole secret invasion thing.
Oh my gosh.
And if James is building up to the same thing
to people that are like dumb
with gods and monsters, it would look like, oh no, DC is again copying.
It won't be interesting though, because
instead of the Skrulls, it'd be the Thanagarians.
People who watch the Justice League would know, oh yeah, this is from the Justice League animated series, obviously.
Yep.
But people who don't know anything about DC would be like, oh, wow, they're copying Marvel. It's like, no. Marvel's copying them, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And again, we don't know what version Isabella is going to play. Yeah. It's possible she could be Shayera, but there are 3 other Hawkgirls. And I believe one of them is actually a Latina, so
yeah,
it would make sense for Isabella to play the Latino version. Although she could pull off Shayera because she has fairer skin, so red hair would look better with her. you know?
Yeah, like Shaira was actually played, the lady who voiced her was Latina.
The lady from Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yeah, I believe she's from Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember her interview about that because she's literally my favorite character from Justice League. So I was listening to her interview, and they were saying, like, is there anything in your personal life that helped you play the character of Hawkgirl? And she said, yeah, actually. She said, I'm from Cuba. I'm way far away from my home. All my customs, everything, because I'm here in America. I miss my home so much. And she's like, so I could totally relate to Hawkgirl, who's far away from Thanagard, and she couldn't, you know, she wasn't anywhere near her home, and she wasn't anywhere near anyone that was like her.
How did you feel back in the day with Justice League Starcross, the twist that she was a Thanagarian spy the entire time? Like,
that's my favorite part. That's my favorite part. That's why I like her. Not that she's a spy, but the fact that she had to deal with something difficult. Like, I mean, I found, because she was always a spy. It's not like, oh, it changed and she was a spy. She was a spy from the beginning. You just didn't know it.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, and then you realize, oh, she was a spy. In reality, if she just kept going the way she was going, she would have just killed everybody and taken over Earth, and everyone would have been dead. But she changed. That's one of my favorite thing about Hawkgirl, actually, is that she was able to, her people were telling her, like, Earthlings are evil, we're gonna kill all of them. And she, in herself, looked inside of herself and was like, I think I'm gonna go against the flow and not do this. So, which was extremely hard for her, because she's literally standing against all of Thanagard to do that. She's like the only... It is Thanagarians, right?
Yeah, Thanagarians, yep.
Yeah, so
bird people.
She's literally the only bird person that's not trying to kill everyone.
Bird people.
She's the only one, and it's very hard. At the time, when I was watching that, I felt very alone in my life, and I could completely understand, like, what she felt, 'cause she was completely alone. But of course, Jon Stewart was there, and he was a great friend, and more than a friend as well. So.
More than a friend, yep. I liked their romance. I thought it was cute. They were my favorite couple next to... Because they always teased Wonder Bat, but it never came true, whereas the teasing actually paid off for Hawkgirl and Green Lantern until the time skip. The time skip, then they were broken up, and he's with Vixen, and there's like this weird love triangle. I didn't like that. But what I really loved... besides, her arc in Starcrossed, is her redemption arc in Justice League Unlimited. Where she comes back, and she has to, earn her place on the team again, even though she was a founder.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, yep.
And she changed her outfit. She was wearing, like, a yellow jumpsuit. She wasn't wearing her mask anymore.
I really liked her, like, you could really tell the conflict inside of her. Like, she couldn't... it was like, oh, wait, I'm sent as a spy, and I'm working with these people. And it's like, the more she was working with them, the more she got to know them. Especially Jon Stewart, I think, like, if it wasn't for him, she may have, tried to kill everyone on Earth. But I think he kind of turned her in a way.
Oh, wow, there was battle damage back then. I didn't realize that. Okay.
But yeah, I really liked her arc. I liked the whole thing. I thought it was really well written. Because it's so hard to go against everyone and stand alone, definitely. Her
redemption arc was fantastic, too. I really enjoyed her basically trying to make amends with people, and how Wonder Woman was really angry at... Because it was like her best friend. It was like her first female friend that she made.
Yeah, that's true. It was her first female friend, and it turned out to be a traitor.
Yep.
Yeah. Should I? Yeah.
Oh, you want to be? You can be Jon Stewart. I think you have to hit plus.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how you change skins.
I guess I can be Jon Stewart. Okay.
There is no Guy Gardner skin because Guy Gardner. Who wants to play as Guy Gardner? Says no one ever.
Maybe they'll make Guy amazing.
No. I was even talking to this with a fellow comic book person. Guy Gardner is a character that is just stupid. Like, he has no redeeming qualities. The only thing that they did to Guy Gardner to make him cool is they turned him into a Red Lantern for a little while. And they used, like, his anger and, all this pent-up stuff to make him a Red Lantern. But the character is just annoying.
Yeah, I mean, like, I heard somebody commenting on one video about this that, you know, that they feel like Hollywood always has to put one jerky character in every mix of superheroes. So maybe they're purposely putting in an annoying character. Like, he's like the Jar Jar Binks of the group.
The only way that I'm going to be okay with Guy Gardner in this movie is if later on they do the famous scene where Batman punches him in the face and knocks him out. That needs to be cinema. That has to be. If you're including Guy Gardner, James Gunn, the new Batman actor has to knock out Guy.
Was that from Brave and the Bold?
Yup. That was from the Brave and the Bold comics. That is the one famous thing Guy Gardner is known for, is Batman knocked out a Green Lantern while he was wearing his ring.
That's because he was just so annoying. That annoying.
Well, they were getting into a... I think Guy was challenging Batman's stuff because he was teasing him that he didn't have superpowers or something like that, and Batman knocked him out to prove a point. It was funny.
Yeah, because he let his guard down.
But also, he can't stand Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner gets on Bruce's skin. Like, he gets under it. So, I would be okay with the casting of Guy Gardner. I wish it wasn't Nathan, though.
Yeah, because I thought you said he used to voice Hal or something.
He was the voice of Hal Jordan, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Alright, it's 26 minutes. So, let's, we kind of moved on from Hawkgirl. I believe that Isabella is going to do a great job as Hawkgirl. Like, people are already worried about, like, well, she's not a ginger. It's like, again, people with fairer skin complexions look better with, like, types of red hair or shades of red. But again, he hasn't.
Just looks natural.
It looks more natural, yeah. Like, if you have, like, a darker complexion and you have, like, red hair,
it looks cool, but you can tell it's not naturally red.
Yeah, it's not naturally
like,
red.
There's
you can tell.
way it could be natural. I mean, it could be cool and dyed red.
I actually went to school with a Latina that had red hair and it looked natural. Like, I thought she was a redhead and she's like, no, it's dyed. It's like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. So.
Oh, you know what's interesting is people from like you know, like Jessica Alba and stuff like that, and there's some, or actually I can't remember the lady there was a lady from Cuba, and she was actually naturally a blonde. There are literally Latina women from South America and Mexico and stuff that are actually normally blonde, like Sofia Vergara. She started out blonde, but she couldn't get any roles because no one would believe that she was Latina and she was a natural blonde. But apparently it's pretty common. Like, Latina women, there are natural blonde Latina women, but she couldn't get any because she didn't fit a stereotype mold here in America, even though she fitted perfectly back in her own country. So she had to dye her hair dark so that she would fit the stereotype of herself. Of her country, which is sad. That's how Americans are. They need it to look a certain way. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
No, I think she's gonna do great in the role. She showed her acting chops, I think, and her action ability. Even though the Dora Explorer movie is a little weird, it did show that she can do action. She was in the Transformers movies.
Yeah. And
she also was in the running to play Batgirl. Like, she lost to Leslie Grace. Which, you know, that movie didn't get made anyway, but both Zoe and Isabella had, like, you know, action things, whereas Leslie Grace did not before. That was her first action blockbuster role. Whereas the other two girls who were, like, you know, the fan picks to play Batgirl, they were more accustomed to stunts and action roles. So I think that based on Hawkgirl and the type of stuff that Hawkgirl does in the movies and, like, you know, the animated shows, I think that Isabella is going to own it. Like, I think she's going to be fantastic as Hawkgirl. The only casting that I'm concerned about is Guy Gardner. I don't like Guy. I don't. I've never liked a Guy Gardner.
I mean, I think that's the whole point, is they're making a character that you're not going to like.
But he said he wanted to put Booster Gold in. You can't have Guy Gardner and Booster Gold in the same cinematic. You can't have two annoying characters. You can't. That's like the cardinal rule. Either Guy needs to die in Superman Legacy, which I'm not even sorry that I brought that idea up. Like, I think that in order to unite the team, he needs to be Phil Coulson. Like, he needs to show, like, I could see this, picture this, okay? I'm not sorry, my brain's going, here we go. Let's say Brainiac is the villain in Superman Legacy, And these other heroes are trying to show Superman how it's done.
Yeah.
And then Brainiac just, like, punches his hand through Guy Gardner's chest. And the ring flies off and it, like, goes to somebody else. And Nathan says some, like, weird one-liner like, oh, I didn't see that coming, or something. And this enrages Superman to save the day. Like,
wow.
That would be amazing to me. That would be a good use of Guy. But the only sad thing would be, then I don't get to see Batman punch him in the face. Because, you know, Batman's not going to be in Superman Legacy, so... But...
Yeah.
You know?
That is weird.
I know, the disrespect for Guy. I don't care! I don't care!
I mean,
I don't care, chat!
Guy disrespects everyone else.
Guy disrespects everybody. Guy is a jerk. I think that would be a great sacrifice for his character to show, you know, what these odds that these new characters face, like this new Justice League. You know?
Yeah. I am kind of interested in Mr. Terrific is kind of interesting because was Mr. Terrific a creation of Dwayne McDuffie, or was he a comic book character before that?
Mr. Terrific has been around for a while.
Oh.
He's been
I just didn't realize it.
Dwayne McDuffie, when he was writing Justice League Unlimited and Justice League Starcrossed, he wanted to incorporate, you know, more of the human side to the superheroes.
Yeah.
But he was given the DC Bible of characters. And he went through with, because remember, he became like not only like the head like writer of the show, but also he was like a producer role as well. So he went through the DC Bible and he selected certain characters to showcase in the next incarnation of Justice League, which Justice League Unlimited is basically like a spin-off show. Even though it continues the story, it's almost like an entirely different show because instead of 7 characters that rotate with the storylines, you now have an army of characters that are not your founders. Sometimes the founders team up with them and they work together, but for the most part, it's a spotlight of new characters like The Question, Mr. Terrific, Huntress, Green Arrow, Kara, Metamorpho was in a couple episodes. You had Vigilante, Shining Knight, Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman would show up on occasion, but for the most part, it was these new characters that were showing how this world was so lived in and had so many different types of superheroes protecting Earth, and even all these heroes couldn't stand up against a greater threat like Darkseid or like other like crazy supervillains, and they'd have to do crowd control. What I want to see is Guy Gardner and some other people, like when Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman are doing something in this universe, I want there to be a crowd control scene. Okay. I want there to be like some heroes that aren't like very competent yet, and Batman and Superman or Wonder Woman are ordering them to like deal with crowd control, because that was a funny moment in Justice League Unlimited. That was really, really well done.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we don't have Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
So we can play a Cyborg, even though Cyborg's not going to appear. We know for a fact James Gunn has mentioned that Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman aren't going to show up in the first chapter. Like,
oh, wait, so Cyborg will be in the Justice League
eventually? They'll have a Flash, they'll have a Cyborg, and they'll have an Aquaman eventually. But Jason Momoa is most likely going to play Lobo.
Well, I can play as... who are they playing?
But we know that James Gunn...
I'll be Flash, then you can be Cyborg.
James Gunn wants to bring the Bat family in, so we're going to see Batman, Nightwing, Robin, and Batgirl. Eventually. Wonder Woman's going to be back. Green Lantern, Shazam is going to be back. Hawkgirl's in it. No mention of Raven. No mention of Martian Manhunter either, which is a shame. Like, it'd be great to have Martian Manhunter. And no mention of Green Arrow yet. But
alright, I took Cyborg. You can be Wonder Woman or something.
Yeah, I guess it'd be Mander Woman. Wait, I want a better skin. How do I do this again?
No, you can just press
alternate square. Let's go New 52. That's fine.
Amicom is cute.
Amicom is cute. Alright, so we're going to talk about Mr. Terrific a little bit, because I don't really want to talk about Guy Gardner.
Yeah, we talked about... Unfortunately, Mr. Terrific isn't in this.
No.
So we'll just play as some other random characters that are eventually going to be in the thing.
Batman fans can't give a good argument of what?
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So let's go with Cyborg. Okay. Let's go to Stryker's Island. Or no, Themyscira. We haven't been there in a long time. Okay, Mr. Terrific. Now, I don't know a lot about the character. I only remember what he did in the Justice League show. which, you know, for the most part, we didn't really get to see him do a lot of action until you watched the Justice League versus the Fatal Five movie, which was Kevin Conroy's one of his last roles as the DC animated Batman.
Oh, okay.
It's a great movie. It's mostly about Jessica Cruz, but Mr. Terrific is in it because there's no Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
And he basically takes up that, you know, strategic role that Martian Manhunter had, because Martian Manhunter was brilliant. And, you know, he had mind powers, so he could, like, you know, kind of cheat a little bit. Mr. Terrific doesn't have mind powers, so
yeah,
everything that happens he was doing in, you know, as a metahuman, but without, like, telekinesis and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he was still able to manage the entire Justice League and give them missions and stuff like that, so he's a pretty cool character. He's not like Iron Man or anything like that. He doesn't have an iron suit. In fact, his superhero costume is actually pretty basic. He wears, like, you know, just kind of like a jacket that says "Fair Play" on the sides of it, and he has like this T painted on his face. Sometimes it's actually not paint though. Sometimes it's like
metal,
nanotechnology or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, I see. That's what's on his face. It's Mr. Terrific. Terrific.
And I always say the actor's name wrong. Eddie Gathegi. Eddie Gathegi. He appeared in X-Men First Class, and he died in that movie, I believe.
Gathegi.
Gathegi? Eddie Gathegi. Okay.
Except for, I heard somebody pronounce it Eddie Gathy.
Eddie Gathy? Okay.
But I'm there's a G in there, so I would assume it'd be Gathegi.
I'm not good with
I really think
names.
that we won't even really know what their names sound like until they start winning awards, and then people start announcing them at talk shows, because I feel like when they first announce characters, nobody knows how to say their name.
You know? The only thing that I'm bummed about is how, like, James Gunn has even said, just because these characters are being established in the Superman movie, it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to get their own spin-off movie. So they're doing something different, where there are going to be other characters popping up in this, you know, new universe, like like they'll have like more Batman characters appear in the Batman Brave and the Bold movie, because it's not just going to be about Batman, Robin, and Talia. It's going to be Nightwing and Batgirl and Alfred and some other characters as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get their own spin-off movie where we'll get a Nightwing or Batgirl movie. You know, they're just going to pop up, because what James Gunn is trying to do is he's trying to, like, bring the comic book world to life, where these characters can just kind of randomly run into each other and, you know, have a conversation like they do in the comics, you know?
Yeah.
To show, like, this bigger, vast world. It might work, but my concern is, a little bit, now that I keep thinking about, like, all these plethora of characters, because now they just announced that Metamorpho is going to be in it. So, to me, I don't know. I loved the Justice Society in... Wait a minute. I loved the Justice Society in the Black Adam movie, but I feel like we didn't get enough of the Justice Society. Like, they're in the Black Adam movie, they have their little arc, but we get to see a little bit of Dr. Fate and Hawkman and how they're friends and stuff like that, but they don't really dive into it that much. They're the Justice Society in the Black Adam movie. My concern is, a little bit, now that they've added Metamorpho, before I was okay with just Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl, but now they've added Metamorpho too, so now you have 5 superheroes in the Superman movie.
Yeah.
And James Gunn still said Superman's going to be the focus. So the only thing I can think of that these 4 superheroes are going to show up to help Superman deal with a threat, and then over the course of the battle, Superman is going to be the superhero that, you know, lives up to his future legacy.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
But
so
if they
it's like they're going to be super side characters.
If they keep adding more superheroes, though, I think that's going to be an oversaturation problem, or that's going to be like too many characters for them to highlight. Because even in comic book crossovers, they don't always have a whole bunch of casts like interact. It's like you'll have one member from the Justice League and maybe one member of the Teen Titans will show up and talk to Nightwing and Batgirl, who, you know, are already like a team in the Nightwing books because they're essentially engaged or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, the only way it could work is if you had, like, a cameo from a character Like, if you had a guy, if you had the actor, well, I mean, Mr. Terrific is pretty, well, main character, but I'm just saying, like, say you were introducing Mr. Terrific in the next movie, and then you had him with a baseball cap that had a T on it, and he was just sitting down to eat a meal, and he wasn't in his costume. Or Hawkgirl, if she had like little wings on her like vest or something, and she was just in normal clothes and you didn't know it was a superhero.
No,
like if you were not introducing all of them at once.
No, because if he wasn't introducing them as their superhero personas, it wouldn't say she's playing Hawkgirl, he's playing Mr. Terrific. Like it would say Shira, Michael Holt.
Yeah, like
you know,
say who they are.
Guy Gardner doesn't have a superhero name. He's just Guy Gardner. Guy Gardner. Sorry, I'm just going back on that topic.
It's fine. I don't. Yeah, no, I understand. Like nobody. I know that nobody likes Guy Gardner.
Nobody likes Guy Gardner.
I don't think it's up for debate.
It's not up for debate. He was so annoying in that one Batman Brave and the Bold video game, and even in the show. Like, Diedrich Bader was kind of like an annoying Batman, but, like, they upped the ante when they got this really annoying guy to play Guy, and he was, like, the sole survivor of... You remember that episode? He was, like, the sole survivor of the,
which...
Like, the Batman Brave and the Bold. Like,
oh, yeah, I remember that.
It made it look like all the Green Lanterns had died, but only Guy Gardner and a squirrel and somebody else survived.
Yeah.
And then Batman got, like, Green Lantern powers, and then it turned out that the entire time Hal Jordan and the Corps was hiding inside of a Green Lantern ring. It was like, yeah, it was weird. But Lauren Lester played Hal Jordan, so it was like, you know, a Batman alumni was in the Batman Brave and the Bold show.
Oh, yeah.
He was a great Hal Jordan, but he only showed up like a handful of times.
I wonder if we'll get like if they're gonna do a different Aquaman, wouldn't that be funny if they brought like Aquaman from Brave and the Bold, like outrageous?
I would be okay with that.
If they brought a completely different type of Aquaman, like if they're going with alternate Earth Aquaman, bring in Brave and the Bold Aquaman, outrageous, and then he starts like telling his stories. One time I put my hook inside of a sailboat and there was a fish that was tremendous. It's like he has these huge stories and stuff that he tells, and yeah, that would be really funny, like if he was really happy-go-lucky Aquaman.
What I like about... I was just thinking about the parallels between Cyborg's character and Mr. Terrific. Now, Cyborg had a horrific accident that made him who he is.
Yeah.
And Mr. Terrific is just like this guy in a, you know, jacket that says fair play and has these T-spheres and some other powers. And he's like, you know, really smart like Cyborg.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, James Gunn is kind of doing the same thing that Zack Snyder did a little bit, because you have another character who has, like, technological superior skills.
He's another techno character, exactly.
He's another brilliant, like, mind in the DC universe, because we were going to see Cyborg do a lot more.
Yeah, that's true. Like, he was going to be, like, one of the main... The way that Zack Snyder was leading up to it is, like, one of the main parts of the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's why he was... And it was all about the boom tubes, which is, like... Yeah, like, was a huge part of the entire plot of...
He also had... He had a bigger... He had more of a... If he had actually showed up for the Flash movie, I don't think we would have seen as much of Ben Affleck. Because the friendship between Flash and Cyborg was slowly being built up.
Yeah.
You know?
I wonder if the two actors were friends a little bit too, maybe.
They got along.
But it's like they
only did one movie together.
It was pretty funny. Like, they did make them, like, pretty fun. Because they were the two youngest characters of
exactly. They were going to become,
League.
like buddies. And Cyborg would have played a bigger role in the Flashpoint thing. And maybe we would have gotten a more traditional Flashpoint. Who knows? Yeah.
I think, like, when one actor quit or when one actor couldn't do it, then it kind of, like, was a domino effect where it's like, oh, okay, I guess we can fire the other actors then.
Yeah, that's the problem. You can recast one actor, but then it can create a domino effect. Like, you lost...
And if there's another one that's having
Cyborg,
a problem...
and then Batman quit, and then Superman, nobody knew what happened with him.
It's like one after another. It's like hard to replace the whole team at once, but when one quits and then another, then it's
like a fall of dominoes.
Then it's like, oh wait, there's 2 or 3 people left, and they're like, hey, you're gonna keep us? It's like, no. because like everyone else quit.
What I would like to see in this new universe is, even though maybe the Justice League isn't established yet, I would like Michael to be kind of like the guy who starts putting the Justice League together. Like, let's say they're all working together for a combined threat that they all have to... I want Michael to be the one, like, issuing the orders, because that's true to his character.
And Michael's Mr. Terrific, right?
Michael Holt is Mr. Terrific, yep.
Michael Holt.
Yep, because he's in the show, he would kind of, like... He wasn't the leader of the Justice League, but he was the guy who was issuing, like, your team needs to go here, and you guys need to watch out for this, and all this other stuff. Like, he was, like, giving people their assignments.
Yeah.
He's not very good in like a stressful situation, like a good field commander like Batman or something like that. But he's really good at team organization and like getting people to get along. Like I can see Guy acting like a complete hothead and not wanting to work with Superman, kind of like what they did in the New 52, where Green Lantern was always trying to outshine Superman because you know, oh, I'm this police guy from space with superpowers. And I'm better than this dude in a red cape. Like, I could see that type of behavior for a guy.
Yeah, like, oh, I've done this longer.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, he's a 50-year-old playing Green Lantern.
Oh,
like,
wow.
So he has been around in this universe for some time, probably 20 years.
Yeah.
Maybe longer. I don't know. It's not like, you know, Zack Snyder's universe was going to be like superheroes are just kind of starting out. And Superman is the branching point of that timeline for superheroes, like the Age of Heroes, which Wonder Woman talked about in Zack Snyder's, like the Age of Heroes is coming again.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. Kind of like how she was talking about Greek myths or something.
Right. Well, she was also talking about the battle between Earth and Darkseid.
Right, and Darkseid from a long time ago, yeah. When she said before, like, they fought off Darkseid or something.
Well, even Zack Snyder said that the Age of Heroes was after Superman came into being and all these other heroes came back and stuff like that. Even though then they backtracked and they're like, well, the tease for Batman's satellite is not that he's going to become Batman. He's always been Batman. He just hasn't been Batman for a while. And then people are like, wait a minute, I thought you said that Superman was supposed to be, you know, the beginning of this universe. He's the first superhero. And then Zack Snyder was like, well, technically Batman's not a superhero. And it's like, yeah, technically.
That's true.
It's true, but still, it was kind of like, it felt like kind of a cop-out.
So Mr. Terrific, his powers are mainly like technology based then?
Yeah, he has like these little T-spheres that follow him around. He can do hacking, he can do force fields.
Oh wow.
He can do all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Well, I don't think I watched very much of the later seasons of Justice League.
He was in the CW, but they didn't do his character justice.
Oh wow.
Like he was really hokey in it. Yeah.
Oh wow, he was in the CW? Okay.
Yeah, he was in...
Oh yeah, I thought somebody was saying he was in Arrow or
They changed his name, though. He wasn't Michael Holt. He was Curtis Holt.
Oh.
So they changed it.
Yeah, kind of like Michael better. It sounds nice.
Yeah, also his personality was not... His CW personality was not like the character in the comics or the cartoon.
Yeah.
He didn't act like him at all.
Yeah, it kind of annoys me when they change people's personality like that.
But the CW did make a cool new character, and that was Diggle.
Yeah, that was really interesting, and then they were gonna make him John Stewart.
Yeah, because you find out that his surname is Stewart, and he dropped it because he hates his dad or something like that. Yeah.
That was weird.
I mean, I could see him, John Stewart.
I could understand, like, I guess.
I feel like that was the biggest missed opportunity with the CWs. They were building up John Diggle's role as becoming a Green Lantern, and then it never happened. It was like, aw.
Yeah, it was like never achieved. It was
hey,
like,
John, you're not wearing your ring. It was like, and he's like, what? How do you know me? Like when they had the Flash from the 90s show up and talk to him.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they were hinting at the future.
They were hinting at the future and they never did it. But that's also because DC wouldn't let them use John Stewart. So they couldn't let Diggle become a Green Lantern.
Weird.
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's right. They were going to do... That's right, because they kept saying they were going to do the imaginary John Stewart thing.
All right. So Metamorpho. Metamorpho. 49 minutes. Metamorpho.
Luke's going to play... Who do you want me to play as, Lobo? Or...
Yeah. Lobo is still rumored to be a villain in Superman, so... Likely Jason Momoa will be on it. I'm surprised they haven't announced the villain yet. They've announced Superman, they've announced Lois. They've announced Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Metamorpho, and Mr. Terrific. But we don't have a Perry White. We don't have a Jimmy Olsen yet. We don't know if the... Obviously, I hope the movie takes place in Metropolis. We don't have a supervillain yet. Like, is it going to be Lobo or is it going to be Brainiac? Like, who is it? You know?
Yeah. I don't really know much about Mr. Terrific from the CW because I don't watch a lot of CW shows.
No, same here.
But I think probably, hopefully they'll use the comics and the Justice League version of Mr. Terrific. All the clips I've seen of Mr. Terrific and Justice League look great.
Yeah, I know. It was such a waste.
Time to liven up the joint.
Yeah, it's like as soon as Jason Momoa played Aquaman, I was like, he looks like Lobo.
I mean,
it's kind of weird.
I understand what not James Gunn, what Zack Snyder was doing with Aquaman. He wanted to make Aquaman cool, and Jason Momoa was this big, upcoming macho actor. And I think that, you know, he fits the persona of 90s Aquaman with the hook hand.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
And apparently, one of James
true.
Wan's things was they were going to remove Aquaman's hand.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, in one of the versions of the Aquaman movie, they were going to remove his hand.
Yeah.
You know, give him the hook hand or something like that.
Right.
But they didn't end up doing it.
Right.
I still think that Jason Momoa's Aquaman would have looked better with the long blonde hair and the beard, because that's what Aquaman looks like.
Yeah,
you know?
It was weird that, like... Yeah, because they changed it where his brother looked more like how Aquaman looks in the comics.
Yep.
I mean, they were going for a different look. They were trying to make him look Hawaiian, which he is Hawaiian.
Yeah, he's of Hawaiian descent. Yep.
It was an interesting idea. I still think having the weird Batman Brave and the Bold Aquaman come back would be interesting, but they probably won't do that. But that would be hilarious. Yeah, one thing I kind of was weirded out by, and I don't know if you talked about this, but I think like somebody said that Amanda Waller's is going to be played by the same lady.
Yep, Amanda Waller's coming back, but all of her history as Amanda Waller is going to be gone.
So she'll be playing a different version of herself.
Yeah, but what their argument is basically, you know how in the multiverse some characters look different and other characters look the same as their counterparts? So that's basically what they're going to do. So you're going to meet Blue Beetle this August, right? But his origin and his family members will probably change the next time you see him.
Oh my gosh.
Because you're going to see his origin unfold in the multiverse. In what was the Snyderverse, where Ben Affleck was Batman and all that other stuff. And then when the actor appears again as Blue Beetle in maybe a Justice League or a Teen Titan movie, who knows?
He'll be completely different family members and origin.
He'll be the same Blue Beetle, like, as, you know, Jaime Reyes is Blue Beetle, but it'll be like a different version of Jaime. But it'll still be the same actor playing him.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's what the multiverse is, though. Sometimes characters look the same with different personalities, and sometimes they're completely different characters altogether.
Yeah, exactly.
So while you saw Aquaman be Jason Momoa in Snyder's universe and where the Flash came from, you'll probably have a completely different Aquaman later on as the next chapter. The first chapter is only going to deal with Superman, Guy Gardner, Batman, Damian, Nightwing, Batgirl, Hawkgirl, Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, Wonder Woman. I don't think Flash. And who else? You never know who can show up in these movies now. Now when you see these castings for like, oh, there's going to be a Swamp Thing movie. It's like, well, what characters are going to pop up in Swamp Thing? Probably Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
You know? You have no idea who's...
Swamp Thing movie? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you have no idea who's going to show up, like, in these movies now.
So isn't Metamorpho that guy that has several different, like, elements or something to him? Or?
Metamorpho... Remember that character, Stag? I think it's Jason Stag or whatever, the old man with the weird... Kind of like... He almost looks like he has the same hair as Misyet Pitalik. He's got the weird, white hair on the side. Yeah. He looks like a freaky cartoon character. Simon Stagg.
Simon Stagg.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had a role in Arkham Knight.
I think I remember.
Yeah. So Simon Stagg in the Justice League cartoon show was not cool with Metamorpho, a war hero, a friend of Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
He worked at his company as, like, private security or whatever. And he fell in love with Simon Stagg's daughter, who Simon Stagg is a big daddy's girl. Like, he loves his daughter, and he's not cool with the idea of her dating this guy he doesn't approve of because he's not wealthy.
Right.
And also, you know, he's just an average guy. And he has these visions of grandeur that he'll someday end up running daddy's company or whatever. But the daddy guy doesn't like him. So then he gets Metamorpho involved with an accident that creates him as a monster. And then he tries to ruin his life. And, you know, break up his relationship with his daughter. But everything backfires.
Oh,
and,
yeah. I knew he had a scientific accident, yeah.
Yep.
So he's kind of like Clayface, or he can morph through pipes and stuff like that.
He's like Clayface, but also he can use, like, the different core elements. Like, he can turn into a gas, he can create poison, he can turn into a liquid.
Oh, wow,
he can turn into a solid, he can grow in size, he can do all kinds of stuff. Like
I think I remember him in the Batman the Animated Series. I thought.
No, he never appeared in Batman the Animated Series. Justice League.
Okay, Justice League. And his girlfriend, Simon Stagg's daughter, she still loved him after he became like a monster.
They became married, and he became a superhero. And he showed up in Justice League Unlimited, but he didn't have like that big of a role to play in Justice League Unlimited. Like, he was just kind of like a background character that they drew in.
I thought the Justice League people helped him in that or something. Because he was in trouble.
GL helped him. It was a Jon Stewart focused episode. Because his friend, like, Jon Stewart is a well-renowned superhero, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't have all this wealth and fame that his war buddy friend does, who's literally marrying an heiress.
Right,
So they were showing that John, I believe it was written by Dwayne McDuffie, they were showing that Jon Stewart, even though he was a Justice League member, he was kind of jealous of his friend for, you know, all this other stuff in the back of his mind. And at the same time, his friend Rex was jealous of John because John is a superhero. He does all these great things. And while, he's a wealthy guy now and he's marrying a beautiful woman, he's also very envious of the life that John has. So it's like two men who are both, like, jealous of each other. But it was written in such a way that it was both compelling and it was interesting to watch. And you felt for both of the male leads in that episode.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was great writing.
It is great writing.
Yeah. But what made it interesting is you would think that the girlfriend of Rex, Metamorpho, would have dumped in today's world, based on someone looking different or having a horrific car accident.
Right.
The thing to do in Hollywood now would be, something happened to the male lead where he doesn't look good looking anymore. And, you know, he's not human, so it's the right thing for me to do to dump this person. Whereas she stayed with him and she loved him.
Yeah.
Regardless of how he looked and how he changed, you know.
Yeah.
Which is the right thing to do because, you know.
It shouldn't be like your outward appearance.
Your outward appearance or because of an accident is not supposed to be a get-out-of-relationship-free card, you know.
Yep.
It's supposed to stay with that person through hard times and when they're sick and when they're well and healthy and the good and the bad. Whereas today, what our culture is teaching is that if something happens to somebody that you don't like, then it's okay for you to, you know, cancel that person from your life.
Yeah.
Whereas counterculture, which is normal culture, like normalcy before whatever culture became, the counterculture side would be, you know, this person is disfigured now and they are going to have a hard life. I'm going to stay with them because I love them. And it's the right thing to do. But you would be taking a counterculture perspective from that.
Right.
According to, like, the social media culture. Because they would be like, no, me, I. It's wrong for her to ruin her life to stay with this person. That's the argument they would make. Is I would ruin my life trying to take care of this person because, you know, they had this thing happen to them.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. So, that's basically who Rex Mason is. I have no idea who this actor is playing him, though. Everybody says he's really famous. His name is Barry Anthony Carrigan.
Yeah, I've never
and he
heard
was
of
just announced as Metamorpho, which I did not add in my video because I had no idea.
Yeah, they just got announced.
Just got announced, these.
John Doe was saying he was in Beware the Bat or something, or Metamorpho.
I think Metamorpho looks like the guy who played Zaz in a Batman movie. I can't tell, though.
Oh.
Am I correct? Has he played a Batman villain like Zaz? He looks like a Zaz. He looks like a Zaz.
Well, I'll select somebody randomly again.
But here's the weird thing, okay? Well, while they've announced all the superheroes,
yes, Luke,
we still don't have a villain announced for the Superman movie.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Deathstroke! No, wait. Deathstroke fights Superman. I mean, Brainiac would be great.
I'm going to play Lobo because I have an idea. Like, they haven't announced a villain yet, so I'm going to go with this. I'm going to come up with a plot or like a theory.
I don't know who I should play as.
Play
Martian
Superman.
Manhunter,
Play Superman.
Superman.
Play as a different Superman skin, though.
Alright, where is Superman?
He's right there. He's right next to Martian Manhunter.
Oh my gosh, where is he? Okay, there we go. Oh, New 52. There we go.
Okay. Okay, so, yeah. We're going to talk about... This is not confirmed. This is pure conjecture. There is no villain announced yet that I know of. So I'm running with this, okay? I'm fully running with this.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Kwings' brain. I think that the big villain of the movie should be Lobo.
Oh, wow.
I think Jason Momoa should be in Superman Legacy as the villain. And I think the man who should have hired Lobo would be Lex Luthor. But Lex Luthor would not have a big role in the movie. He would be, like, teased at the end. But a proper Lex Luthor.
Yeah, like, not somebody that looks like Lex Luthor's son or something.
And, like, there's all these clues pointing to how Lobo was, you know, hired. And then Superman, just like the cartoon, confronts Lex Luthor at his window, like, at the end of the movie.
Right.
Standing there with his arms folded while Lex is doing, like, this 2-minute monologue or whatever. And then he gets mad and he throws something at Superman's chest and just have, like, David's character just say something like, you know, I'm going to be watching you, Luthor, or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And then just have him fly off and end the movie. Like, but
I mean,
not to have Lex, like, be, like, too much Lex, because you want to build up to the mystery of Lex Luthor.
That would be a perfect, it would be a perfect way to introduce Lobo.
And I would have Michael Rosenborn, or whatever his name is. I would cast him as Lex at the end, because it would be like he's played Lex Luthor before. The fans want him in the movie. He's a friend of James Gunn. He's been, you know, wanting to play Lex Luthor, but they keep telling him he's not a right fit for live action. And then have that be the Lex Luthor that Superman meets at the end of the movie.
Is that the guy who...
Smallville.
Oh, Smallville Lex, yeah.
And also, it would play true to the multiverse, because maybe another character later on could be like, wait, I thought you're the Flash. You know, just something corny like that.
Yeah, because he voiced the Flash
Because he voiced the Flash, yeah. And Nathan has also played other DC characters. He's played Green Lantern, he's been in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if it's gonna be Superman, you gotta have somebody pretty powerful. Lobo can pretty much hold his own. You had some questions what you thought about the Superman anime.
Oh, the Superman anime? We've seen 2 episodes of it so far. I think it's charming.
Yeah.
I like that Lois immediately doesn't get rid of her crush on Clark when Superman comes into the picture. I really like that.
No, that's cute.
Because that's the complete opposite of Terry Hatcher.
Terry
Hatcher had, like, a little bit of interest in Smallville at the bebeginning, a little bit.
Yeah.
But as soon as Superman comes into the picture, it's like, you know, Clark Kent, good old, you know, country homeboy. He's old news.
He's literally out of the picture.
And then it's over the course of the show that Lois, when she learns who Superman is, she has to adjust to him being Clark when her ideal Superman is Superman.
Yeah.
And that's how that show's dynamic worked. Whereas this new show, Lois is enamored with Clark just being Clark Kent.
Right.
And when Superman comes into the picture, she, you know, gets a little shy, and maybe she's kind of like, but immediately she's more concerned about Clark and goes to visit him, who she thinks is sick. That was cute.
Yeah.
And then they had this little moment on the couch. I like that. I really, really like where they're going with that. And I know people are saying, well, Lobo can't be a main villain. That's the thing, though. It would appear that he's the main villain, but he's a hired gun. But you wouldn't know until the end of the movie when you finally are introduced to the man who hired Lobo, Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
But
that would be interesting.
And you could make Lobo a very tough-looking villain if he kills one of the Justice League members in the movie, like Guy Gardner, in front of Superman.
Oh my gosh. So that would be why Guy would be in there to be killed.
I mean, that's why I would put Nathan in as Guy. Even though I know it's like an insult to Phil Coulson because Phil Coulson is such a great character, like that idea that you need to kill off, you know, this new superhero team, like one of their members, to get them to work together and, you know, put stakes into the movie.
Yeah.
I think Guy Gardner, based on his age and based on, you know, his annoyingness and based on his connection to, I guarantee you he's going to have connection to the other heroes of that Earth. Like, he's going to be the glue that brings them together in the beginning.
It's
and
like
then,
everyone's gonna know, like, he'll introduce everyone together.
And then if they take this drastic change, because Lobo is a murderer. Like, Lobo is like a hard...
hired killer.
He's a killer. So, if he would actually take one of them down, you know, in the fight with Superman, it would also cause David, who's trying to be like this very... whatever, like this very good, like, Boy Scout Superman, it would force him to hold back a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying to kill Lobo. I don't think that Lobo should be killed off in the movie. I think, like, he should get beat up to the point where he gets kicked off the Earth or maybe imprisoned and we see Amanda Waller or something.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. I don't believe in killing off the villains in their first introduction. You need to keep them around before you kill them. Like, they need to appear a couple times before they die. Because then you can't use them again.
Yep. Well, we'll see. Maybe Lobo will be the villain. Of course, it could be Brainiac. It could be somebody else.
Yeah, they still haven't announced the villain, which... I mean, if they make more Superman Legacy announcements this week, and they go straight to Perry White or Jimmy Olsen, it's like, who's the villain? You said it might be Brainiac. You said it could be, you know... They've teased it could be Lobo.
Yeah.
But they haven't, you know... They haven't told us, like, what it is. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And again, I'm not saying that it's going to be Lobo, and I'm not going to say the movie's going to work that way. I'm saying, like, everybody has these preconceptions of how Lobo is this guy who's, you know, not someone to take seriously. If you have him kill Guy Gardner in, like, this big fight between the makeshift Justice League and Superman, it'll put stakes into the movie. It'll be something people aren't expecting. Because Nathan Fillion is such a famous actor, and he's playing Green Lantern. And then you have his ring fly off, and we don't see where it goes. It just disappears, and then you can introduce a new Green Lantern, like maybe Hal Jordan or John Stewart or somebody, you know, kind of build up on what happened to that Green Lantern. We saw him die, and his ring went and chose somebody else on Earth. Who was it? Jessica Cruz? Was it Hal Jordan? Was it John Stewart? You could build up from that. And James Gunn likes to use building blocks, right? So...
Yeah, Blackwing says, don't have them redeem the villain at the last second either. I hate that.
Yes! Do not redeem Lobo. Lobo is the main man. He is a bad mamma jamma. If he's playing Jason Momoa, like, if that is who Lobo is going to be, and it is Jason Momoa, you need to give Jason Momoa some good action sequences, and you need to put a real fear into the audience with this character. Because, I mean, look at him. He's a sarcastic, tough killer villain.
Yeah.
Right here in Injustice, you know? I think that he would, like, really... That's how I would do it. Like, people be like, oh, Lobo's going to be in this movie. He's going to be a joke. Or he's not a big enough villain to carry the first Superman villain. Yes, he could. But he's... In my version of the movie, he would not be... He would not be the actual villain. He would be the puppet of the real villain, which would be Lex or Brainiac. Which would be introduced in another movie. Like, you'd see them at the end, you would see the actor who's going to play that character, and then, you know, you would get more of them in the next, like, whatever DC movie they pop up in.
Yep.
That's called world building.
Yeah, I mean, like, it would kind of fit with, like, James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy thing, where he had weird villains in that one, like the Smurf guy.
He likes to use a lot of space villains. Lobo is a space villain. And he's not a big household name like Mongol or Brainiac. You don't want to use Brainiac yet. Brainiac is too soon.
Yeah, instead of like a huge cloud that you're fighting like in Green Lantern, it would be good to have a villain that's more humanized. Like, kind of like another Justice, like somebody you're face to face with another person.
Well, I mean, think about what Lobo does, though. Lobo, it's his job to kill people and be a bounty hunter, right?
Right.
It's just business. Like, I could see him just killing Guy Gardner because, you know, he's getting in his way of fighting the Kryptonian or something. You know?
Yeah.
Like, Guy Gardner is literally no threat to him, and the guy just annoys him and he kills him because.
Right, just for no reason.
Right. Well, he just, I mean, you know.
Like, because he was annoying.
Lobo is a character that he just doesn't care.
Right.
You know, he's the main man. We already know that Jason Momoa loves the character Lobo. That's his favorite DC character.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, that's the character he was born to play because he's got like the Hawaiian dreadlocks, he's got the attitude, smoking the cigar, he carries himself, he's this bigger than life character.
Yep.
And depending on how they write the character, if he is the villain, I think that he could really do some interesting things in the new DCU. You know?
Yeah.
But again, there's been no villain cast. We don't know any plot details. This is just me rattling off my brain some theories and ideas based on why they're putting all these Justice League characters. It could be that maybe as a tie-in to his previous movie, here's another idea for people. What if the movie opens up with this makeshift Justice League dealing with the remnants of Starro in their universe? Like a throwback to the comic book of where the Justice League and Starro are like, you know, dealing with them. But the only difference is you wouldn't have Flash. You would have Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Hawkgirl, and you would have Metamorpho. And just put them in the iconic poses at the beginning dealing with Starro like that comic book. And make them either the JSA or the Justice League of America or something like that, you know.
Right.
You could do that, and James Gunn was the one who introduced Starro into the DC movies. So it would be like a throwback to his Suicide Squad thing, but don't make it like the entire movie. It's just like a brief blurb, like introducing these characters.
Okay.
You know, that could work.
Mm-hmm.
They don't call me the main man for nothing.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay. Where do we go from here? So we've talked about Lobo, we've talked about Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho. Who else? Like, who would you want as a villain, like, in the movie? If you had to think of a Superman villain, who would you want?
I don't know,
Like Metallo, or...
Yeah, I can't really think of anyone that powerful that could really defeat Superman. I don't really know how... I mean, in like,
Well, Deathstroke's not really a Superman villain. It's too soon for Doomsday. It's way too soon for Darkseid. And Lex Luthor is always overplayed unless they're going to give him his Lex suit. You know?
I'll be John Stewart since we didn't get to... I don't know. We don't know what... I don't know. And I'll be another Green Lantern maybe after that or something.
Well, the thing is, I don't understand, is with Nathan being Guy Gardner, right? They already cast a Guy Gardner and a Jon Stewart for HBO Max. Like, what's happening with the Green Lantern show now? Is it dead?
Yeah, what Green Lantern show?
There was going to be an HBO Max Green Lantern show that got greenlit, like, last year or the year before.
Was it going to have several green... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was going to have Jessica Cruz, what's his name? Jon Stewart. Mm-hmm. It was going to have Guy Gardner. And it was going to be a limited series on either HBO Max or Max. I don't remember. So what happens to that now that Nathan Fillion is Green Lantern? Are they just basically going to cancel that show, or are they going to slap on the multiverse logo on it? Like DC Elseworlds.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I can't really think of that many Superman, villains, really. I mean, I could think of them, but nothing that's gonna be, like, tremendously exciting. Yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen with the Green Lantern show. I don't really know.
Because we've already seen with Lex Luthor... No, somebody was saying that the Green Lantern show is canceled.
Oh.
Zaslav canceled it. Never mind. I didn't know that. What I don't want to see is another like inclusion of Lex Luthor as just a guy in a business suit. I would like to actually see him wear his Lexo suit or whatever.
Yeah, well,
to fight people.
Let's see. Yeah, well, on your previous question about the Superman villains, who could it be? I guess you could do any alien. Really, I mean, you can't really do Darkseid because we've already done that. With
You have to
Snyder's.
build up. You have to build up the Darkseid.
You can't really do Brainiac. You can't really do the weird Cloud from Green Lantern movie. You could do Sinestro.
No, Sinestro's not a Superman villain though.
I mean, I can't really think of that many Superman villains. I mean, usually, like in the Superman Lois and Clark show, which is the only show I really watched that much with Superman.
There's just human characters.
His main villain is just Lex, always messing with him because he knows that he can't be everywhere at once, and he's just bothering him. I mean, your idea of Lobo is interesting, but I feel like Lobo's not as powerful as Superman, so I think that would end Lobo really quickly. I just don't know if that would even work.
They actually had Lobo as the main villain of a movie. It was an animated movie, and Lobo was mopping the floor with Superman.
How is that possible? Superman's super strong.
Superman had to like learn not to hold back over the course of the fight.
Oh, because he was used to holding back before. Yeah, that makes sense. Like in regular like interaction with human beings.
This stage actually gave me an idea. You see that character in the background?
Yeah.
That character is called Parasite. He is a human who becomes a metahuman, and in order for him to live, he has to steal the life force from superheroes, metahumans.
Oh, yeah.
In order for him to survive. He's not a very well-known character as much, except like Superman fans know him a lot. Mainstream audiences would know characters like Lex Luthor and Brainiac and things like that. But I think maybe Parasite could work because, you know, if the Justice League or whatever, these heroes have to work together to fight a combined threat, the idea of a character stealing their life force to make themselves stronger would definitely be a superhuman creature that Superman really has to, you know, dig down deep to defeat.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, Luke.
That could work.
I mean, I would like to see a character, like a villain we haven't seen, you know, like maybe somebody from the obscure villain from the comic books that like nobody has really brought to film, because yeah, I mean, like we've seen so many Superman villains. I mean, there's just literally, there's not that many people that are stronger than Superman. We've already seen Zod, we've seen Brainiac, in games and stuff. We've seen Darkseid, we've seen Bizarro, Superman. Yeah, I don't know. It's really, I have no idea who they're gonna, the fact that, I mean, it baffles my mind that they're gonna literally introduce a complete superpowered, I mean, it better be somebody good, because they have like an entire team of Justice League people already.
Four plus Superman.
Who could they possibly be taking on? Like, it just doesn't even make any sense. I mean, if I was choosing if I was choosing a villain, I would have Amanda Waller be the villain, personally.
Amanda Waller could stick like somebody like Parasite on them.
I think Amanda Waller would be a great villain because she's awesome and she's scary. I mean, she basically represents the U.S. government. That would be the scariest villain I could think of.
Counterculture is the one that views the U.S. government as the enemy. Like, Hollywood is really big into the U.S. government being a friend.
Look at the direction that you know, the Superman animated show is taking.
That's a cartoon show, though.
Yeah, but that was awesome. Where she was being tortured there, and then they were like, oh, who are you people? Like, it was like terrifying evil people were torturing her, and then she's like, Amanda Waller's like, we're the good guys, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was very chilling.
Yep.
That was very chilling, and they've already shown Amanda Waller to be scary in the Suicide Squad, putting the stuff in people's heads. I think I would have Amanda Waller as the villain. I think she would be fantastic at that.
Yeah, but the problem is, see, if this was just like a Superman Legacy, honestly, when they cast all these superheroes, like, my entire idea of this movie completely changed. Because before I thought they were going to have Superman go toe-to-toe with, like, some superpowered character that he really has to step it up. And now he's going to be in this world that has all these other superheroes, so you have to bring in a threat that can take down these other superheroes so that Superman can save the day.
Maybe it's not one villain, maybe it's an army. Maybe it's the Thanagarians are coming to kill everyone.
Oh, I hope not.
Maybe it's an entire army. Maybe it's the green or white Martians from Martian Manhunter.
No, because there's no... You can't do the White Martians without Martian Manhunter. That doesn't make sense. It's like...
Maybe he will be in it, but nobody knows that.
No, it's already overstuffed as it is. Your idea that the Thanagarians could invade because Hawkgirl is in it, there's a possibility there. You know, especially if they don't make, like, who a clear villain is. But I still feel like that would be a waste of her character because it's too soon because you're just introducing her. You had time to build up with the idea of her being a spy and make it believable. You know, her spending years with them and getting to know them and becoming best friends and things like that. Where literally, it's not a good idea for her first appearance to be ushering in the Thanagarian invasion. That's like introducing the Skrulls for the first time in the Marvel Universe and then going right into Secret Wars. You have to build up a big arc like that over time. Like, sow the seeds.
I mean, personally, if I was making this movie, I would just make up a villain because there's really no villain power full enough to take on everybody.
Yes, there is.
I can't think of any.
Lobo could mop the floor with this makeshift Justice League. Green Lantern, Guy Gardner's not strong enough to take down Lobo. He's not strong enough to take down Parasite.
What if one of the Green Lanterns went insane? Like,
no.
was like mind controlled or something.
Only Hal Jordan ends up becoming Phalanx. Guy Gardner becomes a Red Lantern.
Maybe Guy Gardner will be a Red Lantern in this.
Make Guy the villain.
Maybe he is the villain.
I like that. Let's make Guy the villain.
Maybe Guy is the villain.
Do it. Do it.
There, you found your answer.
Woo!
And then Superman will get to punch him in the face, and Batman will punch him in the face.
Double punches to the face to Guy Gardner.
And then his ring will fly off, and then
no. You don't want to... You can't have Superman... This is the whole idea. You cannot have Superman... If you're trying to do the opposite of Henry Cavill's Superman, you cannot have him kill his villain at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Maybe he can hold Batman back, and Batman will be so
Batman...
angry.
I would be okay if they introduced Batman, like the actor who's playing him, at the end of James Gunn's Superman. Like a tease, but like I don't want Batman to be a big role in the Superman movie because it's already overstuffed with characters.
Well, I have always liked Sinestro. I enjoy that villain a lot. And I love Lex. He's a great villain.
Well, you could introduce Lex as like the very end of the movie, unless he's going to be the big villain. But Lex, especially for a beginning, he works really good as a person who's orchestrating the events. You want to build up Lex Luthor's, like, you know, evilness.
I think it would be interesting if you thought it was Lex, and then you realize at the end it's Amanda Waller hiring everyone trying to kill you. He's like going against Lex, and Lex is like, I'm not even hiring this person.
Oh, you mean Lobo goes through and he runs amok, and then Lex, like, disavows any,
Like, he said, this isn't me, and then Superman's like, I know it's you, Lex, and at the end of the movie you see, like, Amanda Waller in the shadows. She hired
Lobo. She hired Lobo to deal with... But the problem is, Superman doesn't exist yet. Like, James Gunn even said, this is Superman's legacy. This is... Superman's been around. It's not his origin. And he's a part of a bigger universe, but he's not as well known as these other superheroes. Like, people are more familiar with, like, Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and Metamorpho and Mr. Terrific, like, and Batman. All these superheroes are well known. Like, there's probably going to be more name drops than there will be, like, actual actors showing up playing these roles.
Maybe those beetles from the Blue Beetle, like, those beetles that come and invade people and destroy them, maybe that will be the villain.
I thought the Reach are showing up in Blue Beetle's movie, though.
Oh.
Isn't he fighting... Guys, who is the villain in Blue Beetle's movie? Is it the Reach? Or the Black Beetle or whatever? Isn't that who he's fighting? Like an evil version of a scarab? Let me know.
I don't know. Maybe I don't want to say what I'm thinking because I'll get canceled. But
Maybe David Zaslav would be the villain. It's not the Reach, but it is.
I was thinking like maybe this.
Wow.
The Snyder fans that said like it wasn't good enough, like that all the stuff they did after Snyder Cut wasn't good enough, will be the villain.
George Lopez is the real villain.
I don't know.
Why won't Christian Bale return? Because he wants nothing to do with stuff anymore. Oh.
Well, he didn't want to return for that movie.
Yeah, you don't want to bring Doomsday in because it's way too soon for Doomsday.
He didn't return because Ben Affleck is his friend.
Fully charged.
Probably. And they cut Ben Affleck out of the movie. And they basically they cut Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, all the favorites out of the movie. That's what I think. I think that's the reason why Christian Bale didn't want to return for that movie. Also, there's a lot of people that didn't want to be involved in that movie. There was probably people that probably just kept going with the movie because they were under contract or it was their... But that movie had so much controversy, I cannot imagine anyone would have wanted to continue to stay in that movie.
Well, Michael Keaton was not their first choice. They did approach Bale first to be the older Batman. And he said no.
Thank God he said no because Michael Keaton was amazing.
I know.
Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but Christian Bale could not have even gone 1/2000th of the amazing awesomeness of Michael Keaton.
As great as it would have been for Bale to show up, he doesn't have that legacy yet.
He couldn't match the prowess of Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton was just so amazing with his facial expressions. Everything he did was like he was snickering and then taking down all these guys like a boss. It was just amazing. Like,
yeah, but he doesn't.
No way.
Bale is still fresh in people's minds as Batman.
I wouldn't even want Bale in the movie because it would have been like, I'm Batman.
The only way it would have worked, how I would have had Bale in the movie, what I thought they were gonna do is when Barry is running through time, I thought he was gonna like pop up in other multiverses, and where we would see like maybe Christian Bale, like, you know, doing one of his like really serious scenes and have Barry just like kind of run up and look at him and then go somewhere else. Instead, what they did for their multiverse is they had most of these scenes show up in like weird yellow or greenish CGI. Yeah. Where it would have been cool to have him actually run up and be in that world for a second and to look around and see all this other stuff because it would have had more of an impact.
Agreed. Like, it would have been interesting if he actually landed in 2 or 3 worlds
at
least. Like, that would have been better, but whatever.
Yeah, they didn't do that though. That was a shame. Yay, Superman goes off. But yeah, we don't want Superman to kill people because that would defeat the whole purpose, because then James Gunn loses his argument that like, well, we want a brighter, happier, more optimistic Superman. Well, brighter, happy, optimistic Superman would not kill somebody. You know, even at the last resort, he would try to find some way of, you know, disabling the person, disarming them, whatever. Whereas, you know, we know why he killed Zod in Man of Steel, but even the audiences didn't like that thing. Even hardcore Superman fans like ended up arguing with each other for years about like, was this really the right thing to do? And they're like, of course, you know, he was going to murder those people. It's like, he could have found another way, but you know, that's what the script said. The script said to kill, and then it set a catalyst for all the other killers.
I think it would have been better if, honestly, I know that he was like, Snyder was trying to like make people like shocked. But I feel like it would have been better if Superman just put Zod in like chains and chained him up somewhere. But I think the whole idea of it was that like if he didn't kill him, he would have just keep coming back.
What I find interesting though, usually when you do a superhero movie casting, the first thing you do is you announce the star. And the stars are Lois and Clark, right? The next thing you do with your big casting is you announce the villain.
Right.
Then the supporting characters. We have no idea who the villain is.
It's probably going to be that cloud from the Green
Will you
Lantern
stop bringing
movie.
up the Green Lantern cloud? That's never going to happen again. That was just
I don't know how
stupid.
How many aliens are there in the...
There's so many.
Why not? You could bring an evil version of like Hawkgirl in or something.
No, that's too soon because you haven't established Supergirl yet. Supergirl is going to show up in her movie sometime in 2026 or whatever.
Well, I don't really know. I don't know that many DC.
I don't think Toyman would work. That would, unless Toyman killed Guy Gardner. Whoever the villain, they need to kill Guy Gardner.
Whoever it is, I don't want it to be Mr. Mxyzptlk because I think that would be terrible.
Miss Yespitalik.
I think that would be horrible. It would be like, no offense, but it would be like the first Doctor Strange movie with all the weirdness. I don't want Mr. Mxyzptlk. I don't want that person. I think that would be really stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you have like 4 Justice League members plus Superman going against some tiny person?
It would be funny to have the Toyman kill Guy Gardner, though. There would be substance and maybe like a tear or something if Lobo or, you know, Parasite or something killed Guy. But it would be hilarious if Toyman did it and just like stepped on him with a giant robot or something. I would laugh. I would pay just to see Guy Gardner get stepped on by a giant Toyman robot. I would. I'm not even sorry. I'm not sorry. I cannot stand Guy Gardner. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. It would be hilarious.
So who does the chat think the villain should be? Any ideas, chat?
Just get stepped on, and then, you know, and the best part is, if he got stepped on, none of the other heroes would care that he's dead. That would be perfect.
Now that's what I call an entrance.
Maybe the villain would be Perry White because he's about to fire Clark from his newspaper job.
I don't know. I mean, Metallo is pretty strong, but I think that you have to remember that Green Lantern, Hawkgirl with her nth metal mace, Mr. Terrific, and Metamorpho with all his abilities, I'm pretty sure they could easily take down a character like Metallo. You could even argue that they might even be able to defeat a character like Parasite, provided that that character didn't, like, you know, get all of Metamorpho's strength or something like that. If it's early in the fight, or even, like, you know, mid-boss level, I think that those 4 could easily take down a character like, what's his face? Like the Parasite, or Toyman. I don't think that they could, the 4 of them working together, I don't think they could take Lobo. I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I don't think they would stand a chance against Brainiac or Parademons, because Parademons are super strong anyway, but it's way too soon to introduce Parademons. Darkseid is like your ace in the hole. You do not want to introduce Darkseid unless he's orchestrating the events of Gods and Monsters. But what if the Gods and Monsters thing is the monsters are the U.S. government, and the Gods is a reference to the superheroes?
Yeah, that could be it.
Because think about it. There's a show called Creature Commandos that is going to be like a version of the Suicide Squad, but they're all monsters. And the monsters are part of a, you know, strike team of the U.S. government.
Right. Yeah, like it could be like the shark dude.
Unless
like that.
unless the Gods and Monsters show is just a reference to literally the Creature Commandos, and the Gods is a reference to like the DC superheroes. But I would hope it would be like more like symbolic than that. Like, you know, monsters to illustrate like people doing bad things, and the Gods as a reference to the superheroes.
Yeah.
That's how I would interpret that, but it might just be a more simpler meaning, like the Creature Commando show, which is basically like, you know, Universal Studio monsters, Frankenstein, vampires, things like that, being introduced into the DC universe. Creature Commandos is a thing. It's always been a part of DC. It's very obscure.
Oh.
It has its own little group. You've never seen them, but they've been around since the 70s. And
Maybe.
like Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein. I'm serious. They're monsters, but they're like heroes, kind of. They just, you don't see them in the public eye very much because they're hideous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, maybe the Flash will go through time and bring back dinosaurs into the world.
Oh my god.
And then the Justice League will have to defeat a bunch of T-Rexes or something. Hello, Green Arrow.
Hello, Green Arrow. Yep. I'm playing as Green Arrow because James Gunn showed a picture with what people perceived as maybe this was the route of Justice League that he was going to cast. And then a year later, you know, showing Gardarner and Metamorpho and Mr. Terrific in that picture with Hawkgirl and Superman. It looks like that might be his version of the Justice League. Also, Damian and Batman are in it.
Well, I mean, like, what kind of villains did the Justice League fight? I don't know.
They rushed Darkseid.
Yeah,
they had Steppenwolf as the big bad.
I meant like on the animated Justice League. They fought all kinds of villains.
Their first introduction, the Justice League, the White Martians.
Terraforming the Earth, yeah.
Yep. Their next big villains were Mongol and Warworld. Darkseid was like the guy who was pulling the strings for a lot of stuff, and Lex Luthor.
They fought Grundy before.
Yep, they fought Solomon Grundy. They fought like the Injustice League. The one thing that I do not want them to do, and I want them to make a clear difference, because Zack Snyder's universe was building into an Injustice universe. Batman versus Superman.
Right.
What I do not want to see is a movie universe where Superman becomes the villain. I do not want them to lead into a chapter where Superman makes an Injustice world.
Yeah.
They already did that with Zack Snyder stuff.
Yeah, and it wasn't really
and the
working.
audience didn't like it. It worked in a video game and it worked in comic books, but it didn't work well in the movies.
Yeah, because people they want Superman to be the hero.
They want Superman to be the hero, exactly. They don't want Superman to, you know, chuck his morals and become like a dictator. That's, you know, it worked for a video game, and it worked for comic books, but it wasn't really going to work well in theaters. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, if Mr. Terrific is in it, maybe it'll be something technology-based. Like, I don't know.
Well, I don't think we're going to have Cyborg show up. I think that Mr. Terrific is Cyborg. Like, I think he's going to be the Cyborg character.
Yeah, I know. So, like, maybe it'll be something technology-based then, like, for the villain or something.
But I would have preferred Booster Gold over Gardarner.
Maybe evil robots will attack.
Ow. But it's kind of interesting. So far, the cast members that they've shown, a lot of them have appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, the actors?
A lot. Even James Gunn said that a lot of his friends are going to show up in his movies. He's really good friends with Nathan.
Oh, wow.
Nathan has appeared in both his Suicide Squad movie, and he appeared in a Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty crazy, Luke.
Yep. So that means we'll probably see Chris Pratt eventually, too. I think he'd be perfect as Booster Gold. I think no one would disagree with the casting of Chris Pratt as Booster Gold. He'd be, like, more annoying than Star-Lord, and he would just fit perfectly. Alright, so we'll wrap up with Green Lantern and Hawkgirl, and then I'm going to get ready for my Zelda stream.
Okay.
So we don't have Gardarner. So let's go with
Regime?
No.
You can just do regular. I mean, it doesn't matter.
We'll do Red Sun. Red Sun, because he's wearing a jacket.
So let us know in the comments after the video who you guys think will be the villain, and also what do you guys think of the casting so far. And I mean, I don't really, it's hard for me to really have an opinion on the casting, because unless I've actually seen, like, I just see the person's face, but it's like I don't really know what they're like, if they can act or not. Like, just because I see their face doesn't mean I have an opinion about them.
But you do think
that's how I feel.
You do think it's weird that they would cast all the heroes and not even talk about the villain yet.
Maybe they were just saving. Maybe it's like a secret or something.
It's still weird.
Or maybe they don't even know who the villain is.
No,
maybe
he already
figuring it out.
No, he already has the entire script written for a lot of DC projects. Otherwise, they wouldn't get past the Writers Guild of America strike.
I mean, the fact that they're not saying who it is makes me think it might be Lobo, because I think it would be too weird, like, if he announced it was Lobo. Like, if he announced, say it was an unknown person, then nobody would care. They'd be like, oh, this guy's gonna be the villain, interesting. But if it was Jason Momoa, then it'd be like, oh my gosh. Yeah,
well, Jason Momoa has more star power than this David Cornsweet guy.
Yeah.
You know, the only reason I wouldn't cast him as Lobo is because Aquaman is going to be a bomb. at the box office. Like, it's going to be a dud.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Jason Momoa is still a great actor, and I think he could play a great Lobo. Like, I really do. And I think that the only problem with making him or having Lobo be the villain is they've already done that with Superman struggling against Lobo in the Tomorrowverse, which was a Superman Man of Tomorrow animated movie where both Martian Manhunter and Superman struggled to defeat, Lobo.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it appeared that Lobo even killed Martian Manhunter by burning him alive with his blowtorch.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Yeah, so there were
Creepy.
stakes involved with that. And in that fight, the death of Martian Manhunter, who didn't really die, but it looked like he died, it was used to make Clark really dig deep and defeat Lobo. Because before, Lobo was wiping the floor with him.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. But, that's already been done. So, I mean, maybe they won't do that. I don't know. But I find it interesting that James Gunn, when he was talking about his DCU, which is the name of the new film universe, he was on Michael's show, Lex Luthor from Smallville. He was on his podcast.
Yes.
And the fact that
Why would he be randomly on his podcast?
Right, I'm just spitballing here. Based on the fact that James Gunn seems to keep hiring his friends, John Cena, Nathan Fillion, and all these other people to be in his new Superman Legacy movie, what's to say that we actually will get to see Michael as Lex Luthor again, but now as the DCU Lex Luthor? Because why would he just go on Michael's show, and Michael's been campaigning to play Lex for like 20 years almost?
Yeah.
It feels like, I'm just spitballing here, but I think that it might actually be time for Smallville Lex to become movie Lex. Because I think he could do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
I really think he could do it.
Definitely. Thanks for the super chat, guys. Thanks for Alpha. As long as he delivers quality, that's all that matters. Storytelling is key. Thank you, Alpha.
Storytelling is key in this stuff. I'm still like kind of concerned by all these characters popping in,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of characters. People are saying it's a lot of superheroes.
He's doing the same thing that The Rock did with Black Adam, because there were 4 superheroes plus Black Adam.
Yeah, but I think I think The Rock was trying to set up a universe with that.
He was trying to make a JSA movie.
And I mean I really liked that movie personally, but I don't know.
All right, so anyway, guys and gals, that is going to do it for our showcase. We kind of ended under 1,000 views again, but this was still pretty close. I actually thought we were going to get over that because our Justice League discussion things are actually usually pretty good.
Yeah.
But it goes to show that YouTube just doesn't want to give us 1,000 views. So we finished at 920 views. We got some super chats, which is great. Thank you guys very much. We hope you guys enjoyed the discussion. In the comment section below, tell us what you think about Superman Legacy, who you think the villain will be, and if you're cool with all these characters popping up in this universe. Like, we now have 5 superheroes in Superman's introductory movie, not his origin, but like his legacy, so to speak, like being showcased in this brand new movie with David Cornsweet playing Superman, opposite of Nathan Fillion, Isabella Merced, Eddie, what is it again? Eddie Guerretti? Eddie Getty?
Let's see. Yeah, so the casting is, let's see. David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan.
I was concerned about the Eddie
Mr.
one.
Terrific, Eddie Gathegi.
Yeah, there you go.
Eddie Gathegi.
Yep.
Isabel Merced. Yep. So Gathegi is his name. Eddie Gathegi.
Yep. So I guess we'll see what happens. As long as the storytelling is good, I mean, the movie might be really fun. I hope it's a fun movie, and I'm looking forward to it. So, guys, your next stream is going to be Zelda, which will be starting up around 8:45. It's 8:20 now, so you guys have about a 15-minute intermission. So grab a snack, hang out. I'm going to be doing some shrines and some other stuff. I don't know if there's a Final Fantasy stream tonight because I don't believe it hit 1,000 views. So I will find out what I'll be streaming after this. So stay tuned for that. And see you guys on The Legend of Zelda. All right?
Great.
Thanks so much for watching, guys.
Thanks. God bless. Happy gaming. See ya.